Well, Asa Butterfield grew up. Now I know how Peter Pan felt when he returned to the nursery, only to find out that Wendy was a grown-up. I mean, when the movie started, they had some narration, and I was like, oh, I wonder what adult they got to do the narration. And then they were like, bam! That's Asa Butterfield's voice. I mean, really, marveling at how adult he is really saved a lot of this movie for me. It distracted me from how awful it is. And I have to say, as many of you know, I've never been a particularly big Asa Butterfield fan. I thought he was a bad choice for Ender's Game, and when he was up for the new Spider-Man role opposite Tom Holland, I was like, don't you do it, Sony and Marvel. He's a mistake. And I'm tempted to say he was a mistake here as well. I still think that he's not a leading man. He seems like a perfectly nice kid, and I think he's a good actor, well now almost adult. But he just doesn't have the it factor that I think makes him someone you want to spend, in this case, 2 hours with. But I can't totally blame him for the movie, because he's one half of the best part of it, and that's the romance. Squee! Oh, it's a very good romance. Like, that's the only reason to see this movie. If you are a lovesick teenager, or even a tween, I think, you would totally be into this. This romance between Asa Butterfield's character and Ella Purnell's character is as hot as the romance can get that involves teenagers. It was very, very good. They did a very good job capturing what's so evocative and, just captures people's hearts when it comes to star-crossed, or in this case, time-crossed lovers. But as for the rest of the movie, I think the best way for me to describe it is that it's an incredibly poor taste. And I think that it really seems to go just purely for shock value. And the best way to point that out without too many, well, any spoilers, this is a spoiler-free review, don't worry about it, but Enoch's peculiarity, which people who are familiar with the books know, and if you don't believe me and you go and see this movie, you too will know what I'm talking about once you've seen it. But anyway, the Enoch character's peculiarity is so horrible, so grotesque, and so morally bankrupt that, first of all, you're like amazed someone even came up with it, and then you're shocked at how, and again, I said this was done for shock value, but the broad strokes in which it's handled in the film really makes you question the initial intent of the filmmakers. I can't question the intent of the author who came up with Enoch in the first place, because I'm not familiar with the book, so I don't know what he did with that. But I can tell you, as for Tim Burton and Jane Goldman, the director and screenwriter here, I can't believe that they would depict something like this in a family movie and not take it seriously and feel like there's some responsibility to do it right. And speaking to that, I can't believe that this is a family movie. I don't think anyone under 13 should go and see it, because it deals with so much death and let's see here, murder and torture. I was just, again, I was shocked, but I felt not in a worthy way. Again, it was just for shock value. But it looked nice, though. It had some nice visuals. But just because Samuel L. Jackson had scary teeth and cool contacts didn't excuse his performance. And I just recently was praising Samuel L. Jackson for moving past paycheck gigs. I was like, welcome back, Samuel L. And then he goes and does this, which is like the paycheckiest gig of all. In fact, during some of his scenes, I was sitting there just like, just agape, okay? Look that word up, all right? And thinking to myself, how could anybody on set, when they were filming this, been like, I think this is going great. I think we got it. Let's move on to the next shot. I'd be like, I think we need to seriously rethink everything about this movie. I can't believe we even got to the production stage. How is this not stopped with the script? And that's what's so weird about it, because there are so many talented people involved in this production. Tim Burton, Jane Goldman, Eva Green, Samuel L. Jackson, Terrence Stamp, Judy freaking Dench, who, by the way, is so adorable in this movie, and also is in the film's best jump scare. But I have to say, the books are so popular, and I know so many of you are so excited about this movie because you love the books, that I feel it must ultimately be the script. But they have enough time here. This movie wasn't shortchanged. It's like 2 hours. When I got out of the press screening, I was like, man, that was a long movie. So I guess to its credit, it doesn't feel long. But I guess the angle or the focus that they ultimately decided to go with just was the wrong entry point for the film. I also feel that there wasn't a grandeur to it. It went back and forth between the shock value and also just kind of like lifelessly just being there. They were like, yeah, this is the story. And you're like, I think you could make a little bit more effort or seem like you cared a little bit more. Like, for instance, the peculiar who has the fire power, when she wants to put something on fire, she just like kind of like nonchalantly is like, you're on fire. And you're like, man, sell it. Come on, make an effort here. I guess I'm spoiled by X-Men movies, but I think even from a literary sense, this is just really weak. I think that the best way for me to describe how weird this movie is, and the point where I was like, I don't even know what I'm watching anymore, was where toward the end there's a fight between some monsters, some skeletons, on a boardwalk at a carnival to techno music. And it was just so odd and so like slapped together and so not Tim Burton that I just was kind of, it really actually made me think of Tim Burton at that moment. And I was like, what led you to this point, Tim Burton? This is truly bizarre. And I guess that's also a good way to describe this movie. It's just really bizarre and in poor taste and shock value and not well written. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts about the film down below. I know some of you won't believe me. And in some ways, this is a movie so weird and so bad that it needs to be seen to be believed. So I look forward to discussing it with you down below. But don't spoil it for anyone. Make sure you put spoiler headers in your comments if you want to discuss something specific about the film. All right, thanks for discussing this with me. Again, I look forward to talking about it with you down below, and you can check out some more videos right now.